This is Jason from the QuickBooks team. Once you've connected your bank account to online banking in QuickBooks, QuickBooks downloads your recent transactions every day. All you need to do is review each transaction, categorize them into the correct account on your chart of accounts, and then add them to QuickBooks. Let's go over how to review the transactions downloaded from your bank and how to categorize them and add them to QuickBooks. Go to Banking or Transactions and select Banking to get started. You'll see a box for each bank and credit card you've connected. Select any of the boxes to see the downloaded transactions for that account. Here is where you'll see all the transactions that QuickBooks has downloaded from your bank. These aren't in QuickBooks yet. You still need to categorize them to add them. To do this, select the transaction to see more details. The vendor customer is optional, but it helps you run reports later to see who you paid or who paid you. Select the category that best describes why you spent or received the money. The category is the account the transaction will go into. If the transaction is a sale, categorize it as income. Select the income account that you use to track these kinds of transactions. You'll probably see lots of business expenses like rent or materials purchases. If you're recording a purchase you made, you usually categorize it as an expense. But if the purchase is something that you'll use over and over again for many years, like a vehicle or a computer, you might categorize it as a fixed asset. You won't see these often. If you don't see a category that works, you can add one here. These fields are for assigning expenses to customers to make them billable, and this area is for tagging expenses so you can track the money you're spending. These are both very useful features, so we've included videos at the end that explain in detail how to use each. You can enter any other notes in the memo field. Over time, QuickBooks will recognize transactions from the same vendors and customers and try to categorize them for you. However, you can still change the category. You can even manually change this setting with this link. You can also split a transaction into multiple categories if you need. Select the categories and add the amount for each one. Just make sure it adds up to the total amount of the transaction. Once everything looks good, select Add. For some transactions, you'll see Match instead of Add. These are transactions, such as a bill or an invoice payment or bank deposit that you've already entered into QuickBooks. So instead of adding the transaction, it will match the record from the bank with what you've already entered. This prevents duplicates. All you need to do is review them. If the two transactions match, select Match. However, if QuickBooks is wrong and the match is not correct, don't worry. You can select Add to add it to QuickBooks as a brand new transaction. Or, if you know you definitely entered the transaction into QuickBooks and the match is wrong, select Find Other Records to match it to the correct transaction. Now you're ready to categorize transactions for your connected bank and credit cards.